We're now moving on to the talk. Every night we cover a different country as we try and relay and understand our Muslim brothers and sisters across the globe in different countries. Today, we're talking about Saudi Arabia, and we're very fortunate to have Dr. Ali Al-Ahmed, who is a Saudi political activist, a public speaker, a scholar and a writer, and the founder and director of the Institute of Gulf Affairs, an independent think tank in Washington. And he's been invited to speak by Princeton University, Amnesty International, the Hudson Institute, and many other influential organizations. He's testified before Congress on several occasions and has authored reports on Saudi Arabia regarding religious freedom, torture, press freedom, and the religious curriculum. He's a regular guest on numerous TV shows, including CBS News, CNN, PBS, Fox News, and Al-Jazeera, and has written for and has been quoted in the Washington Post, Associated Press, The Times, Reuters, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and the Boston Globe, amongst others. So without further ado, let's welcome the Salat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. Apologies for brother Jalal Ferouz, and because I was supposed to do this last week, but it's been too busy for me, and at this time I want to say my name is Ali Al-Ahmed. I live in Washington DC. I'm from Qatif, in particular from Safwa and Qatif, that is in currently Saudi Arabia, on the eastern part of that country, of the Persian Gulf Coast. So today I want to speak to you about myself and about our community, or our people in the Arabian Peninsula. Many of you do not know that the first Muslim community, in fact, even before Medina, was in what is known today as Qatif and Al-Ahsa. These two regions in the eastern part of Saudi Arabia. These are Shia majority regions. The second mosque in Islam where Jum'ah was held is in a place called Jawatha, which is in Al-Ahsa. If you look at the map in the eastern part of Arabia, there is two big oases, Qatif, which is I'm from, and Al-Ahsa to the south of Qatif. Al-Ahsa is a larger oasis, probably 200 cities and villages. In Qatif is smaller. Qatif is more known, obviously, but this is where Islam's first community, actually complete community, before the movement of the Prophet Muhammad to Medina, the Muslim community in Al-Ahsa and Qatif was formed. The delegation from Hajar or Al-Khatt at the time, that's what the name of the region was, came to Mecca and met the Prophet Muhammad and embraced Islam, and they went back and spread Islam to their community. This is before the hijrah of the Prophet to Medina. And then the second, like I said, the second Jum'ah prayer was held in that mosque, which is still around. It's a historical mosque in Jawatha in Al-Ahsa. So this is how deep this community, in terms of its pioneer as Muslims. And that community was also Shia in that way, because it has never accepted other than being the followers of Ahlul Bayt. It's been always like that. Historians talked about it, and early Muslim historians talked about the fact this was a Shia area. And it was never not a Shia area, never. Since Islam, it's been always pro Ahlul Bayt, and in that way they continue to be. If for example, my family, my origins, were not from that region. My families, my father's side and my mother's side came from Sunni areas of Arabia. But when they moved to that area about 200, 300 years ago, they embraced the local version of Islam. And alhamdulillah, that was a good thing for me, at least, I think, and for our family. So this region, just to tell you, it's a special region in terms of Islamic history and the followers of Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam. As a person, I neglect to say that I've been living in Washington for 20 years in exile from that region. Since I was a child, I was from a political family and active. I was a political prisoner. My entire family ended up in prison. We have martyrs in our family, and we still have prisoners, including my youngest brother who was in prison for many years because of our political activities and fight for justice. Some of you are not used to this because you live in the West, but this is the story of Shia Arabs in particular in the Middle East. They are targets of governments and foreign powers because they fight for justice. At least we hope we are fighting for justice for all, not only for the followers of Ahl al-Bayt. I'm proud to say that I'm the first person to study and graduate journalism in a country named Saudi Arabia as a Shia, because Shia were until a few years ago banned from studying journalism. So I studied in the United States. So I'm the first one. This is very sad. I'm proud of it, obviously, that I'm the first. But it's also very sad and tells you how the level of oppression that the Shia of Saudi Arabia face. Again, I want to go to the fact that we are the first, our community is the first Muslim community, even before a Medina community. And we continue to be the followers of Ahl al-Bayt since. There is a hadith attributed to the Prophet Muhammad when the delegation of the people of our region was going to Mecca. This is before the Hijrah. And the Prophet said these words. From this side, you will see the arrival of the best people of the East. In Arabic, I'm going to read it for you. سَيَطْلَعُ لَكُم مِّنْ هَذَا الْوَجْهِ. From this side will appear رَكْبُ هُمْ خَيْرُ أَهْلِ الْمَشْرِقِ. The delegation of the best people of the East. That was a reference to the people known at the time, Abdul Qais. That's the name of the tribal area of the eastern part of Arabia. And he said, خَيْرُ أَهْلِ الْمَشْرِقِ Abdul Qais. The best people of the East are Abdul Qais. This is the tribe that our ancestors belong to. My ancestors, not, but because we migrated there, but this is the region, he called them the best people. And this is very special, and I think it has been not widely known even in the region. And I hope we can stand up to this. Anyway, so going into details about the Shia in Saudi Arabia. The Shia in Saudi Arabia occupy the largest province or the region in Saudi Arabia. That's called the Eastern Province. It has the big oasis, which is cities, and that's Qatif, close to Bahrain and Kuwait, and Al-Hasa region, which is in the south, close to Qatar and UAE and Oman. These cities and towns hold about 4 million people, maybe more, little bit more than that, and they are mostly Shia. Over the years, the Saudi government has tried to bring in, what we can call settlers from different regions to change the demographic balance in the region. Another region in Saudi Arabia, which is also the second largest, is called Najran, and that is in the southern part. And the eastern province and Najran, they connect, and if you put them together, if you look at the map, and unfortunately, because I cannot use a map here, I don't have those skills. Stretches from Yemen to Kuwait. Najran holds the Ismaili Shia minority in Saudi Arabia, and there is not a lot of intercommunication between the Shia and the Ismailis, but the second largest is dominated by Ismailis in Saudi Arabia, and this is the largest Arab Shia or Ismaili Shia community in the Arab countries. In particular, I wanted to note that the Shia of Saudi Arabia form the largest Shia Arab community in the Middle East after Iraq. So Iraq has the largest, and then Saudi Arabia is the second, and I think the Lebanon is the third. So this is a very important community in its size, the fact that it dominates the oil region, where the oil, the largest oil producer in the world is in Shia area, from Shia region, and this fact that the oil is in the Shia area did not benefit Shia economically. It did not give them any benefit really, or very small benefit, and we'll talk about that in a second. Cities like Qatif and Al-Hufuf and Al-Mubarraz, these are the largest cities in the Shia areas of Saudi Arabia. Shia are also in Medina, about 30% of Medina. Many of you have been to Medina. Are Shia, but you notice that they don't have a mosque. They are invisible. Shia are also in Riyadh. These people who move there to work, and there are small community or small number of families who were historically in Riyadh, but they are among those Shia who hide their identity. Shia are also in Jeddah, the Shia in different parts of Saudi Arabia, but because the Saudi government bans Shia from building mosques in cities like Riyadh or Khubar or Medina, Mecca and Jeddah, and that's a policy of the Saudi government, and because they are fearful of Shia creating communities, and the way they prevent it is by preventing gatherings and building mosques or Husseiniyyas in these. While the world talks about building a church in Saudi Arabia, they do not mention the building mosques and Husseiniyyah for the Shia of Riyadh or in Jeddah and other cities where hundreds of thousands of Shia live. And that's very important and key in our work. Saudi Shia face great challenges, tremendous challenges that is not seen by many communities around the world. There is not a single Shia mayor in Saudi Arabia. You're talking about 5 million people out of 20 million people. There are 20 million people in Saudi Arabia, citizens that is, and you have 5 million of them are not allowed to become mayors or judges, diplomats, and head of public, companies or government agencies. If you are a Shia, you cannot be military pilot, for example, and hold security positions. You are not allowed to have power and access because you are Shia. And in my experience, I have dealt with members of their own family and asked them this point blank, that why are you so fearful of these people, of us? And they have no answer. It is part of that issue that I want to speak to you, because your community is very important. I have dealt with your community when I studied in college, and we used to go to the mosque that was built by your community in Minnesota. You have an important role to play in combating anti-Shiism and Shiaphobia in the West in the UK, especially with the BBC and other anti-Shia outlets, you have the capacity to combat it.